Welcome, children around the world. We're so glad that you can be here with us today. No matter your culture, where you're from, or the place you live, welcome.
Welcome, boys and girls, to the GEK'S Sisters YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you can be here with us today. Before we start, let us have our songs of worship. Our first song will be I've Got Peace Like a River. So if you have peace, sing along with us. I've got peace like a river, I got peace like a river, I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean, I got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I got joy like a fountain, I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I got joy like a fountain, I got joy like a fountain, I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like a river. Peace, love, and joy like a river. I got peace, love, and joy like a river in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like a river. I got peace, love, and joy like a river. I got peace, love, and joy like a river in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like an ocean. Peace, love, and joy like an ocean. I got peace, love, and joy like an ocean in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like an ocean. Peace, love, and joy like an ocean. I got peace, love, and joy like an ocean in my soul. I've got peace, love, and joy like a fountain. Peace, love, and joy like a fountain. I got peace, love, and joy like a fountain in my soul. In my soul. I got peace, love, and joy like a fountain. Peace, love, and joy like a fountain. I got peace, love, and joy like a fountain in my soul. Matthew 19:26. With God, all things are possible.
Today's story is David and Goliath. This is Samuel. Samuel was a prophet of the Lord. One day, Samuel went to Saul and told him that he wouldn't be king anymore, but the Lord had a different plan. One day, the Lord came to Samuel and told him that he was supposed to go to Bethlehem because he was going to appoint his new king. But the Lord told him to go undercover and say that he was going to do a sacrifice. Samuel got up and was ready to go to the gate of Bethlehem. The reason the Lord told him to do this was because if Saul heard that he was going to appoint the new king, he might have wanted to kill the king. Samuel was nearing the gate of Bethlehem, and there were some prophecies there. They asked him if he brought good news. Yes, I have brought good news. I am going to be doing a sacrifice in Bethlehem for the Lord. But little did they know, Samuel had a different plan. This is Jesse. He was David's father. One day, Jesse heard a knock on the door. He went to go check it out. "Who's there?" Jesse said after he opened the door. Then he saw it was the prophet Samuel. Jesse told him to come in.
Samuel told Jesse to bring all your sons, for today I am going to do a sacrifice to appoint the new king. So Jesse went and took all his finest sons.
Jesse brought all his sons to Samuel, but Samuel thought that none of them was the one. Then finally, he came to Eliab. Samuel saw that Eliab had broad shoulders and that he was beautiful. But the Lord said, "This is not the one that I want. Humans look at the outside appearance of people, but I look in the inside." And then Samuel asked, "Do you have another child?" Jesse said, "Yes, I do have another kid. He's in the pastures, and his name is David. You want me to get him for you?" Samuel said yes, and so Jesse went to go get David. "This is the one," Samuel said. "This is the one." So Samuel told David to kneel down, and Samuel was going to appoint the new king. Samuel got a special oil. Now that Samuel was finished with his job, he returned back to the place he came. At that time, Saul was the king of Israel. One day, Samuel went to Saul and told him that the Lord wouldn't be with him anymore because Saul did some terrible things. So, Saul had demons in him. They asked people who could play the harp to come play music for Saul so he would feel better. But nobody made him feel better. One day, Saul asked if there was anyone else who could play the harp for him, and they referred him to David, the son of Jesse. David came and he lived with Saul in his palace. And one day, he went to go give food to his brothers. And this is how the story continues.
This is Goliath. Goliath was the giant of Gath. The Philistines and the Israelites were going to fight. But they were so afraid because Goliath was so strong and big. But little did they know who was going to defeat the big giant.
Before the battle, David was going to get 5 smooth stones from the stream.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Then, David was ready to fight Goliath.
I'm gonna feed your bones to the birds. How dare you insult my God? Instead, I'll feed your flesh to the birds of the air. Again. And that's how I defeated Goliath. A little shepherd boy became a great king and a great ruler because God is always with you. Wasn't that a great story, boys and girls? I learned that nothing is impossible with God. Now it's time for
Quiz time, quiz time, quiz time, quiz time, quiz time. Quiz time, quiz time, it's time for quiz time. Hey! Our first question will be, what was the name of the boy who slayed Goliath? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. His name was David. Our second question is gonna be, what was the name of the giant that fought David? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. His name was Goliath. And our final and last question is, who was with David when he needed help the most? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. It was God.
I'm so sad that we're leaving. But don't worry, we will see you next week. Before we end, let us have our word of prayer. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, here on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive our debts, just as we have forgive our debtors. And deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, and the power is yours forever and ever. Amen. Thank you for coming to the Children Corner. Bye.
There is peace in Christ when we learn of Him. Feel the love He felt for us when He bore our sins. Listen to His words, let them come alive. If we know the way He lives,